One of the best things that I've ever done in my life was learn how to say no. Hola, hola, hola a todos. Es tu prima favorita, Bobby here, and welcome to the Cousins Corner. If you are new here, if you're not new here, welcome back. I am tu prima favorita, Bobby, and I just like to talk. Today, something that really came across my mind was just how much power there is in reclaiming your time and actually not being afraid to tell people no. One of the best things that I had learned in my adulthood was how to tell people no. I grew up as the oldest of 4 siblings with my mom. I was basically the second parent in the household, and I was always the person that that she had to rely on. I was basically the second parent in that household, right? Had to pretty much raise my sisters, take care of them, and we're not talking about just sibling duties, just helping out. We're talking about full-on parenting as a child. That's another story for another time. But growing up with dealing with not just that, but all of the other things that I've gone through and other traumas and other experiences and things that have happened to me, I grew up just knowing at an early age that I had to be reliable, right? I had to be very, very independent, and not only independent, but I couldn't necessarily be self-serving. I had to show up for other people all of the time. I had to play mother per se. There were times where my sisters would accidentally call me mom and it would send me through the roof, but that's just because of how much time that I actually had to spend being a parent to them. We talking about beyond babysitting, and I don't want to get into all of that in this video, maybe in another time, but yeah, it was pretty much, child parenting a child. And I did a good job, but that's more than likely probably why I don't really care to have my own children right now. Anyway, that's for another time, for another story. But in that, I had developed the habit of always feeling like I had to show up for other people, right? And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It has done me well in a lot of places in my life. Even now, my current career, my full-time job, I am in educational nonprofit, so I show up a lot for my students. I show up a lot for the families that I serve. I show up a lot for the people around me, for the communities that I serve, for the communities I'm a part of. Even in teaching dance and being an instructor, I show up, I serve people. That's just what I do. But I had to learn within my personal life, social life, just to be able to say no. There used to be a form of guilt sometimes if people would invite me out to places, or if people would invite me to things, or if they're, people were like, hey, we're gonna go to the studio and we're gonna do this little dance project or whatever, and it's not paid, it's something that's gonna take a lot of time or a lot of commitment or whatever the case may be. But I was like, yes, I got time, I'll do it, I'll make time, I do it, I'm getting off, so let me just do that after work or whatever. And I had to realize that even though some of these things were fun, some of these things were very much so things that I really enjoyed doing and that they were serving me, but I also was giving up other time on the back end. I was giving up time for me to recuperate, and time for me to rest, and time for me to actually have to myself. For people that know me, my friends will tell you all the time, I am a busy woman. And I don't say that to brag, but I lead a busy life. That's just what I do. I'm always doing something. I'm always involved in something. If it's not work, it's dance. If it's not dance, it's something else that I volunteer for, all of that. And it used to be so major to the point where people say that I don't have time now. I make time now. I make time to rest. I make time to recuperate. I make time for myself, and I say no. But back then, especially after college, when I got out on my own into the real world, I filled up all of my time. I filled it up. I took every single opportunity, no matter how big, how small, how far. I, especially in the beginning of my professional dance career, I took all the opportunities. And before I became further along in my dance career, I was doing a lot of things for free. Like, I was doing a lot of things for free. Like, you want to be in this video, you want to help me do this choreography, you want to collab, you want to do this concept, you want to do this showcase. And not to say that I will not do those things now unless they're paid, but it's just like I was just taking everything. I was like, yes, 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 yes. You want to be on this team, you want to do this tryout, you want to go to this prep class, you want to teach this, you want to do that. And I really had to learn to say no. I really had to learn to be like, I don't have the capacity for that. I already made plans to go out of town, or to go, you know, be with friends or be with family, or to just not do anything. And I had to learn to reclaim my time, and that I didn't owe people anything. And when I learned that, and also learning that it's not that big of a deal if you tell people no. Now, if you're always telling people no and shutting them down, and then you're complaining about how they don't invite you anywhere or whatever the case may be, that's another story. But it is okay to say no in order to protect yourself, in order to protect your energy, in order to protect your peace. And I'm just using like my dance life as an example, but there are a lot of other things out there. Like, if you're the type of person that are like, well, when your friends invite you places, you feel like you're obligated to go. You feel like you have to be there. You feel like you have to show up. And yes, while we want to show up for our friends, while we want to make time for them, while we want to make time to be social and all of that, you also have to make time for yourself and to honor yourself. And I started doing this thing where I really check in with myself, and I'm like, if I'm questioning whether I really want to go to this thing or not, or be a part of this thing or not, or show up at this event, or, you know, commit to whatever this is, if I'm questioning myself, let me see if this is something that I really want to do. A lot of times we just hop on something because it's like, yeah, I'll have time, or I'll make time, or I'll be there, or I'll show up. And really it's like, well, I didn't really want to. I just kind of said it because I felt obligated. They did such and such for me, or they asked me so nicely. Sometimes it's just simply just that. And it's like, you have to learn to honor yourself and say no. I know for me also, I am a person who, I enjoy like a good night out here and there, but that it's not my scene. Like the bar scene, the club scene, that's not my scene. I got a lot of energy and I love to dance, so I could see how some people could think that I'm like this party girl or whatever the case may be, because I can party when it's time to party, and when I feel like partying, but I am not, that's not my scene. And so I used to feel like guilty when I would say no to my friends if they're like, yeah, we're going out on a Thursday night or whatever, and I'm like, dang, like I do want to hang out with them, but I don't want to go there. I don't want to be there. And also, I'm the type of person that most days I wake up at like 5 o'clock in the morning because I work out at 6 a.m. Like I'm up between 5:15 and 5:30 every single morning. Morning routine on lock, night routine on lock, because I like to be in my bed before a certain time also. And so that also came into play as a part of honoring myself. And there are some days where I'm like, yeah, I'll go to bed later for the sake of like going to this event, or going to hang out with my friends, or going to go do this, or going to go do that, or hanging out with somebody, or whatever the case may be. But it's just like, I know how to say no when it's really something that I don't feel like doing. Even when it comes down to dates, and you know, I'm a person that's just like, you know, it's a really fun date, of course I'm down to go. But there are times where I'm just like, I would rather be at home than to be sitting in this person's face or whatever. And it's not because, you know, he's not a great person or whatever the case may be, but it's like, I already made plans that on that day I was gonna get off work and I was gonna go home and I was gonna have my me time, and that is important. And that's something that we have to consider. And when we, especially for those of us who kind of work in more of like the service industry of life, of those of us who pour into people day in and day out, like everything I do as far as my career, down to my side gigs, down to my passions, is pouring into other people. I am constantly like surrounded by other energies. I am constantly giving myself to other people, giving my energy to other people, giving, you know, encouragement or wisdom or knowledge or coaching or teaching other people or instructing other people or whatever the case may be, or pouring ideas. And it is very important for me to make sure that I have that time to myself where I can just not. I can just simply just be, or I can give back that time to myself. I love to self-reflect. I love doing my own research. I love reading. I love writing. I love taking my lone walks and hikes. And now I'm in Austin, there's a serial killer on the loose, so gotta be careful with that. But I had to learn to say no so that I could find time to pour back into myself. Because that was another thing that I really struggled with when I first moved out here and I first got into my adulthood and how I wanted to live my life. I was so used to being on go all the time. My entire life has been like that. Like, even on the weekends, like, we couldn't even just rest and relax. My mom was like, get up, something needed to be cleaned, something needed to be done, something needed to be taken out or remade or whatever the case. There was always something to do. And so a lot of times I can find myself just being busy and being occupied, down to even if it's like, okay, I'm not physically doing anything, but let me read a book and do some research, or let me read some articles on my phone, like keeping my mind stimulated and keeping my mind busy. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I had to learn that I have to say no in order to even have that time, or to even just be able to take time back for myself so that I can sit and I can relax. I can do the things I love. I can do nothing at all if I so choose to. But it's learning to say no that is going to help you to reclaim that time. It's so easy to get wrapped up in the busyness of the world, and you can sleep when you're dead, and there's so much life to live, so live it now. But rest is important. And a big part of you being able to reclaim your time, a big part of you being able to find time to rest, it's going to take you saying no sometimes. It's going to take you saying no to yourself sometimes. And I'm not saying this to justify those of y'all who sit at home and just don't do anything at all. That's your prerogative. But I know several people who like to complain about not having friends, or not having this, or not having that, but they don't like to leave their house. They don't like to do anything, whether it's by themselves, solo dolo, or whether it's going out with other people. I'm not talking to you. You need to be saying yes more often. I'm gonna have a video for you coming soon. But for my people that are like me, that are always on the go, that are always pouring into other people, that are always giving to other people, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you have to be able to pour into yourself. And part of being able to find that time to pour back into yourself, to recuperate, to regenerate, to recharge, is going to take you saying no. And if you do not learn how to say no, if you don't learn how to find those times and those spaces for you to relax, you will burn out. And just because you burn out don't mean that you can't recharge and get back into it, but you have to find a healthy pattern. And that's what I tell my friends when they do ask me, like, how do you do so much? And I'm like, it's because I make time to rest. It's because I find those times. And sometimes I have weeks where it's like go, and I'm like, I don't feel like I've sat down in so long. Like, there are weeks, including this one, I'm like, I haven't touched my couch all week. I haven't even sat on that couch since I've been back from my last trip that I just went on. And it's okay, because this weekend, I have a pretty busy weekend, kinda. But you know where I'm gonna be on the times that I'm not busy? Right there on my sofa. Right on my sofa. En mi sofa, en mi casita, chileando, just chilling, just getting my time back. And that comes with me saying, hey, I got a busy plate already, and this other time that I had that was free, I was scheduled to sit on my couch. And you don't have to tell people that. You don't have to get all into detail and tell them what you plan to do and how you plan to have a lazy day or whatever the case may be. But prioritize self first. And this is specifically for those of us who are in jobs where we pour out to others constantly. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a fun thing. It's so great. It's my passion to like talk to people. That's why I make these YouTube videos. It is my passion to talk to people. It is my passion to pour into people. It is my passion to build confidence and community. Diva Dance plug. It is my passion to see people excel in life and to have a hand in that, even if it's just something that I just happen to say, or if it's a huge role that I've played in people's lives. I love that. I live for that. I've been that way since a kid, but I've had to learn and to teach myself that I can't pour into other people if I don't first have the time to pour into myself. And if I'm always saying yes, if I'm always showing up and I never take time back, I never take time to myself, I never really intentionally carve out time to just be with Bobby so I can just not be on, then I won't be able to pour into people for too long. So I just wanted to give you that word on today. Don't be afraid to say no. Don't be afraid to reclaim your time. Don't be afraid to be a little bit selfish with your time, especially if you know that on the regular, you are giving. Make that time to pour into yourself. Make those decisions to say, hey, actually today, no, I can't. I won't. I refuse. No, I'm just kidding. But that doesn't mean that you go around canceling all your plans with people, you know. Sometimes it is like that. Sometimes it is like, hey, I'm actually just not really feeling up to it. And, you know, those who understand will understand. And if people get like upset with you because you told them no or whatever, especially if you tell them the reason, like I don't feel well, or I'm just trying to recuperate or recharge or whatever, then maybe you need to consider how close or distant you need to keep that person in the future. But there's nothing wrong with protecting yourself, protecting your energy. And sometimes that's going to include you telling people, no, no puedo, no lo puedo, no lo puedo ir, no lo puedo hacer. Like, I can't go, I can't do it. I don't have the capacity. I don't have the capacity. But yeah, so that's just my message on today. Again, this is tu prima favorita, Bobby here. Thank you for joining me again today in the Cousins Corner. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button and like this video. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to drop your comments below, share your thoughts, and share this video with somebody that probably needs to learn to say no. So yeah, I will see y'all next time. Bye.